There are very few things more exciting to a woman than a baby shower. It's an opportunity to eat some good food, play games, and help the guest of honor welcome new life into the world. But should age and marital status play a role in the celebration? If the mom to be is an unwed teenager, do you still celebrate her being pregnant? I have a feeling that a few feathers may get ruffled in tonight's show, but this discussion needs to be had. And no better place to do it than the Talk to Q radio show. No experts, just opinions. Buckle up. What's going on, people? I would like.
T2Q Radio.
Hey, what up, Q? What up, Radio World?
What's going on, people? I got to shake the rust off. I want to welcome all of you to the Talk to Q radio show. My name is Quincy, and this is my show. And I'm coming to you live from an undisclosed location in the crib. Today is Tuesday, June 21st, 2022, and this is episode number 998. If you want to chime in on tonight's topic, then you can do so from the interactive chat room, and your comments may be read on the air. If you want to be a guest on the show, then hit me up on social media at TalkToQ or email me at talktoqnow@gmail.com. Be sure, please, to like, share, and subscribe to the show. Doing that will help expose me to more people on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and more places. So please take a second to do one of those things, if not all three. Thank you very much. Let me go to the T2Q virtual phone lines to see who will be joining the mix this evening. Let me go here to the Lone Star State of Texas and welcome back TK from the
Hey, everybody.
Chronicles of a Black Sheep podcast. TK, what's going on?
Nothing much. How are you?
I am doing well. Glad to have you. All right. And I got a couple of show legends to bring into the mix. So let me welcome them. From the 732 area code, the Garden State of New Jersey, please welcome on the show enforcer, the show legend, Ray. Ray, what's happening?
Hey, what's up, Q? How you doing tonight?
Doing well, bro. How you doing?
All right.
All right. And oops, look like I lost TK. I guess she'll get back in. Back to the phone line. From the 985 area code in the Pelican State of Louisiana, please welcome on show legend Erica Warren to the Talk to Q radio show. Erica, what's going on?
Hey, hey, hey. Good evening.
What's happening?
How y'all doing?
Doing all
Doing
right.
all right.
All right. So we will go ahead and kick things off. And all right. So the topic is basically discussing baby showers for teens. So I guess the best thing for me to do, I'm gonna start off with a yes or no question. I mean, we all know that society evolves with each passing generation, but most people argue that it doesn't always evolve for the better. Now, how people deal with teen pregnancies vary from generation to generation. Technically, we're adults at 18, although I think that's kind of outdated. But when I say teen mom, what age comes to mind, first of all, Erica? Just a simple question. When I say teenage mom, what age range comes to mind for you?
Um, Anything in the teens, anything between 14 up to 19.
Okay. All right. And Ray, what about you? What comes to mind when I say teen mom? What age range?
13 to 19.
Okay. 13 to 19.
Yeah.
And I kind of I think technically that is 18. Um, you got some people who argue that 18 and 19-year-olds don't count because they're technically grown, but I personally don't believe that, and it doesn't sound like you all do either. But all right, so um, let's say you have a girl who is 16 years old. She's not married and she's living at home with her parents. She finds out that she's pregnant. Erica, is it appropriate to give her a baby shower to celebrate her upcoming motherhood? I mean, that's just a simple way to start off, I guess.
I say it's appropriate if she's surrounded by people who want to celebrate it and who are happy about the situation, then why not? Who's to say that they shouldn't celebrate a new life coming into their family if they want to?
Okay. And Ray, how do you feel about it, man? Is it something that should be done? Is it okay to give a baby shower to celebrate upcoming motherhood?
I mean, it kind of depends on what team you're talking about. Now, if you're talking about Kylie Jenner or somebody like that, they can pay their own ticket, then maybe so. But if you're a teen, you in high school or you haven't finished high school yet, absolutely not.
Okay. All right. So let's start here. And Ray, I'll let you go first on this. Would you attend a baby shower for an unwed teen? You know, if you were invited by a relative, a friend, or a coworker, would you even go?
Uh, probably not. Now, I would probably support them if they needed something, for the baby or something like that. But as far as me going and celebrating and everybody's acting like this is something that should be celebrated, I don't think that that's something I would want to be a part of. Because technically, if you're not married, you shouldn't have did that anyway. I mean, you can't do nothing about it once the baby's on the way, but at the same time, to celebrate that to me is wrong.
Okay. And Erica, what about you? Maybe the child is super young and you were like, you kind of hate that she got pregnant, but like Ray said, it's already done. Do you go if you're invited and celebrate, or do you just support from a distance?
Well, it would depend on the relationship I had with the person or that family. I probably would, because my take on it is, once the girl is pregnant, you can't take it back. And so I don't think the child deserves to be brought into a situation where everybody is shamed of that child, coming into the world, because we have so many people who find themselves in that situation and they're so ashamed they hide it. And then, they don't operate as great parents as they could because of the shame, because they're worried about what other people are saying about them or the stigma that the world puts on them. And I think too many kids are raised with that shame. I say if the child is already here and it's been made, and it's coming, we may as well celebrate. Every life deserves to be celebrated. And I don't think that anybody has the right to shame another person because of a decision or a mistake that they made. They made the mistake. Hopefully they learn from it, but it's not our place to make them feel ashamed for it for the rest of their life.
All right, let me ask you this, and this is for whoever wants to answer. And I agree with you that no one should be ashamed of anything for the rest of their life. And get TK back in here. But and
Thank you.
TK,
Thank you.
you can chime in too. Um, isn't shame part of, I guess, a teaching moment? Not to say that you just make someone feel bad to the point of, driving them to counseling or suicidal thoughts or anything like that, but can't shame be a teaching moment?
No,
It should be. I mean,
no.
I think it should be because the thing about it is, where do we draw the line? Okay, if you are a husband and you beat your wife, okay, well, we don't say anything about that. Then, Okay, well, they didn't lock him up. They got back together. Uh, no harm, no foul kind of thing. It wasn't right, but then that's kind of their business. Okay, if you do it like that, then you can do that for pretty much anything that somebody does wrong. I think that if a teen, know what usually happens when a teen gets pregnant and the parents do that type of stuff. She has one at 15, and then 17, she's having another one. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, I think we're mistaking shame with learning a lesson. Shame is something that hinders
Hmm.
you from moving forward and feeling like you can do better. When you're enshrouded in shame, you feel like you deserve everything you get. You don't deserve anything better, and so you always stay stuck in that situation. And I think our culture believes in shaming people in order to teach them a lesson, but it does more harm than good.
And I highly agree with Erica on this. We see a lot of shaming on social media. Um, that agreed. It does more harm than it does good. A lot of times when you're shaming these kids, you never know where they are mentally. And that moment of shame can lead to a suicide moment. I don't believe it's a learning lesson. There's other ways to teach our children, and have them learn from mistakes versus then shaming them and posting them all on social media for them to only be when they go out in public. Oh, look, that's that girl. Her mama did her like this. Then she going in school. Oh, look, that's that girl. And then she's being tormented and picked at and bullied. It makes it bigger than what it needs to be.
Mm.
To me, that sounded like something altogether different. Seems like we talking about two different things. Well, I mean, now shaming as far as making a kid stand on the corner or say, "Hey, she got pregnant and this ain't anything to do," and the whole sign. No, we're not talking about that. I'm saying if a child is pregnant and they make the mistake of being pregnant, you could be the best grandparents in the world. But at the same time, you got to let them know that they have responsibilities now. Things that I did for you, I'm no longer going to have to do. You're going to have to support your child and go to school. Now, you got a place to stay, so you got a head start. But if you think that we going to raise kids all over again, you're mistaken by that. So everything that you had, you're going to have to share now. So I think if they understand the responsibility that comes along with it, and then you will learn early to choose a guy who is willing to take responsibility with your kid, because too many girls out here now, they picking guys that don't even want to be with them, won't take care of the kid, don't come from a good family, all this kind of stuff. And then when you look back, your cousin did the same thing, your older sister did the same thing, your mama did the same thing, your aunt did the same thing. When is this gonna stop?
Yeah,
All
I
right.
don't know. I don't disagree that a lesson has to be learned and that things are going to change for that child when they bring a child into this world. And it's our job to guide them and show them, you know, there's going to be some things you're going to miss out on. There's going to be some things that you have to sacrifice, but you don't have to sacrifice your dignity. You're not less of a person because you did this, or I'm not going to punish you because you made that mistake. That's the word right there, is punishing
Okay.
that child and making them feel like they're less than because they made a mistake. Because a lot of our parents were 16 to 17 when they had us. My mama was 17 when she got pregnant with me.
And I think I understand what both of you are saying. And maybe shame is not the correct word because I agree with Ray that lessons and responsibilities have to be taught and instilled. And I also agree with you all that you don't want someone to feel like they're basically thrown away for life, behind things like this. And on Facebook, I think someone's commenting from a group, so I apologize for not knowing your name. You can type it in the chat room if you like. But they say I couldn't type fast enough. I agree with Erica. Shame is not a way to teach a lesson. People make mistakes. Surrounding them with love will be all they need to not make the same mistake again. They'll think twice versus being shameful and falling into the arms of another man just to get knocked up again. She'll know her worth if
Okay.
shown love versus shameful. I hope this makes sense. And I get
You
what you're
tried
saying.
that before she got pregnant.
So,
Hey,
okay.
Ashley.
All right. This is Ashley chiming in from the Magnolia State of Mississippi. What's up? What's up? All right. So let's talk about, I guess, that support and maybe the upside, so to speak, of having a baby shower for an unwed teen, if there is one, in your opinion. Is having a baby shower a way to show that the village will support her through everything? And TK, I'll get with you on this. Is that the village's way of showing, hey, we got you?
I'm gonna say no. A lot of times that baby shower is, say, some people coming to get some free food, some people coming to be nosy. It doesn't mean that I'm bringing you this gift and I got your back. You can call on me. That's not what that means.
That
You will
sounds like a
quickly
wedding.
find out afterwards who your
Mhm.
village is and who is going to be there. Them attending a baby shower means nothing.
All
Mhm.
right. Ray, do you agree?
Oh yeah, absolutely agree. I mean, any kind of party you have, and there's very few people come to celebrate. People come to mac on the women, drink the liquor, eat the food, and everything else. It ain't about what it should be about. That's why I say when a kid, if they're going to have a baby shower, you know, you what are you teaching her friends? What are you teaching everybody else? Hey, by you supporting her in her house shows her that you support her. You don't have to go ahead and throw a big party and everything else for what? When a kid get turning 1 years old, we'll throw him a big party or her a big party. But you having a baby shower for the kid born? Nah, hell no.
All right.
Well,
Okay.
I think
So,
what has happened is, over the generations, baby showers have turned into what they was not originated for. Because a baby shower is for you to come together and everybody bring things to the mother that she's going to need for the baby, so that while she is at home taking care of a newborn, she can't get out. She doesn't have any reason to leave the house because she has everything she needs there. And that's what the purpose of the shower is, to shower the baby with gifts.
well, they've lost that purpose. Yeah, you're
Man,
right about that.
some of these baby showers is, they look like stripper parties.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I ain't
Oh
going to
yeah.
none of them.
Oh yeah. But
Yeah,
ain't nobody
I've
there to
seen
raise the folks to throw on them.
I've seen some
Mm,
of these new ones, and I'm like, well, we know that's how you got the baby. We don't need the reenactment of it. Like, yeah, we got you. We see, but thanks. We don't need that.
Mhm.
And I think even
Yeah.
now, a lot of the baby showers, there's a whole different level of disrespect with the baby showers.
Hmm.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I think people go overboard with parties, period,
Because
nowadays.
we
But
we got parents now that don't want to tell the truth. You got parents that's our age, they want to be like the 20-year olds and 21-year olds and talking the same lingo they talking. Until you tell the truth, is nothing gonna change.
mm, I mean, so what about, if not everyone, of course, approves of unwed teenage kids having baby showers. You still got those members of the church, who are going to shun you. Back in the day, if you were a teenager and you had a baby, they kicked you out of church back in the day in some southern churches. And so it was serious to them as far as how they just shunned people for doing it. But as a parent of a child who may be a teen mom, how do you deal with that backlash from the family or from the community or people who don't approve of it to avoid your child getting shamed to the point of, it affecting their mental being?
I don't think you get shamed nowadays. So many people, you in the same boat with everybody else. It's like having on white sneakers. I don't think you would get shamed. No, not nowadays. I don't think you would. Mm-mm. You in
Erica,
high
TK, you
school,
all
you and
agree?
five more girls pregnant.
You think people
I
aren't going to say anything these days?
not as much as it was back then, but you know, I just think you're never gonna escape judgmental people, no matter where you go. And then, like you said, back in the day, the church would shun you, and they're some of the most judgmental and unrighteous people you ever want to meet inside of the church, shunning people. So don't get me started on that.
Because you got that hair, your hair was going like this. I'm like, uh-oh,
I had the
uh-oh, there
church
it goes.
shake on that one.
Oh man, I think you what you do will never be okay with everybody.
Mm-mm.
You're always gonna do something that somebody's not gonna like, even if you're doing it right or if you're doing it wrong. You did it too fast. You did it before them. You're never going to please everybody. So everybody's gonna have their opinion, and that's what it is an opinion. um Being raised in the church, even myself, hey, there were people in there that did come into there that were pregnant in their teenage years. The older people and the older people, they made their little sly remarks, but let them walk through that church and they the first ones grabbing for their baby, or they're
Yes.
telling that girl, hey, you need to make sure you do this, keep the socks on the baby's feet. At a point, you still need that. And I think that's even now what society is missing, is those grandmothers that we
Mhm.
had back in the day that would actually teach, versus them being out in the club and dropping it like it's hot with the kids. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
that old wisdom is really
They
what's
said
needed.
that.
Yeah, you might have caught a little flack, but there was some knowledge there with that flack.
Okay. Okay. Well, grandmama's 31 years old now, so she's in the club.
Baby. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and this is something I think Ray mentioned earlier, um, about the daughter having the unwed teen having peers. If she's 14, 15, whatever age she is, she has friends. Do you invite her teenage friends to the baby shower? Or would you allow your teenage daughter to go to another teenager's baby shower? And let me go to you on this first, TK.
Um, yes. I have my daughter, um, her best friend had a child early.
Mm-hmm.
We pretty much kind of stepped in and helped her as much as we could, because there was a situation with the parents not technically being around. So we didn't shun her either. We supported her, um, did what we could even to help her. She's in a better, of course, situation. Baby girl's like 7. Mom is, in the military working and everything, and she's doing very good for herself,
Okay.
despite the circumstances that started. So I wouldn't shun or shame anybody, because I wouldn't want nobody to do me or my child like that. My child was raised a certain way. We had those understandings, but we all make mistakes at the same time. So, yeah, my daughter has gone to a few of her friends that, like I said, has had babies before they graduated high school, and to this day, she's 24. She doesn't have any children.
Okay. And Ray, what do you think? Do you think that inviting other teenage girls to see this celebration could possibly send the wrong message, or you think it's okay for her friends to come along and support?
Well, it's definitely going to send a wrong message. But I mean, if that's your best friend, I don't think you stop being her friend. But at the same time, the way things are done nowadays, you know, everybody want to get the baby Air Jordans or some kind of Gucci something or this and that, and we want to make it something that is not. Instead of getting up an account, custodial account for the kid when they're born, and start building in other ways. We doing all the things that are going to keep the kid in the same cycle that the mother was in. And then when you talk about that, well, we ain't gonna try to do this and we ain't gonna try to do that. No, I'm not about telling somebody, oh, you can't see her, you can't be her friend, but you have to have a talk with your kid and let your kid know. Listen, uh, the things that she's into, I don't want you to get into, because although her situation may seem okay, this is what the situation is. And you have to put it like that. Now, if somebody want to say, "Oh, you're judging her," then I guess that's what we'll call it. But you have to tell the truth. You say, "Hey, that's not a good situation. She could dress the kid up and walk the kid and take 20 pictures a day and post them and everything else of the baby. That's not a situation you want to be in at 16 years old or 18 years old, and you haven't even really started your life yet."
Okay.
And that's what you have to put out there.
All right, Erica, what do you follow on this? Do you allow your teenage daughter to go support her friend, or if your daughter is the one that's pregnant, do you invite other of her peers or friends to come and join in the baby shower?
I mean, I don't see why not, and I don't understand why people think pregnancy is something contagious, like you can catch it by touching somebody else.
You know,
And if
it,
if
it's
if you have a good
it's
enough
not contagious.
relationship with your child, and you have that open relationship with your child, and they respect you, I don't think by them being around another one of their friends who got pregnant at an early age that it's just going to automatically rub off on them.
No,
Um, it might be normalized, but I don't see why we feel like we have to hide everything from our children and keep our children away from certain things because you might get the wrong idea or that might rub off on you. When you have a good enough relationship with your child, you don't worry about those type of things. And then it's really a great thing to be able to show your child that you can embrace situations where maybe somebody did make a mistake. We're not going to shame this person. We're not going to throw them away. We're going to show them support in a situation where they wouldn't get support nowhere else. I think that's a great example to show your child. And like TK said, her daughter has grown up to be 24 years old, and she has not had any children. So obviously, it's not a contagious thing.
Okay.
no, but one example out of 10, we the ratio was not good. Now, we're not saying that it's contagious, but at the same time, okay, if the behavior is wrong, birds of a feather flock together. You think the dude that she's seeing ain't got no friends? You think the dude that she's seeing ain't got no brother, no cousins? That's just how it goes. I mean, if you had a son and he grew up with a friend and his friend is a drug dealer now, are you going to let them hang together and you know it? Or are you going to say, well, we going to love him anyway and you could be friends, but just don't get caught up with him?
Well, I've actually had situation where my son was
Yeah,
friends
me too.
with some guys who was doing things that he didn't agree with, and he had his own sensibilities to cut off that relationship. I didn't have to step in and do
You
that.
know? But if
Yeah.
he
I-
didn't, what would you tell him?
I left that up to him because you certain things
Oh,
you have to let your children learn lessons on their own because sometimes when we overstep our boundaries, we push them further into the thing that we're trying to protect them from.
See, I kind of fall in between both of you because I do think that without a conversation, pregnancy is contagious in a way, because if you don't talk to your child and explain what's going on, then they may think it's okay if they happen to get pregnant. And so I kind of agree with both of you. I think if you communicate, or like Erica said, if you have a relationship with your child and y'all have an understanding, then it's probably something you don't have to worry about. But there are a lot of people out here who don't talk to their children. And these kids go and they see all this stuff on TV with teen moms and 16 and pregnant, and they don't think it's that big of a deal, because I mean, the one of the things about being a kid is that you don't realize something's bad until it happens. That's called, learning experience in a lot of cases if no one tells you. And so I kind of fall in between you all when it comes to that. I wouldn't compare a drug dealer to someone getting pregnant. But I get what Ray is trying to say, but I don't. I wouldn't go to that extreme. But I do think that it's kind of in between. That if you don't talk to your child to show them examples of things in life that can be a hindrance or that can be, a hurdle, so to speak, then it's a possibility they can fall into that same trap because they won't see anything wrong with it.
and
And
I
also,
also I
I'm
also
sorry. Go
see
ahead.
it this way is why are we so afraid if we expose our kids to something that they will join in? Sometimes when you expose your child to something and let them see it, they decide, I don't want that. I want to go the other route. So maybe by
Yep.
her seeing her friends go through pregnancy and having to give up a lot of their freedom, she decided, I don't want that for myself.
I mean, that's true. That's not going to be present at the shower, but because there's going
Mm-mm.
to be nothing but good times at the shower.
Hey,
But
but
over
let me
time,
ask you
they'll probably
guys
see that.
a question. If the girl's a teen and she had sex somewhere, where is she having the sex? Maybe her parents are working long hours. Maybe she being raised by a single mother. But either way, she has time. Okay, if you holding your house down and that's her friend, you think your daughter going over to her house just to visit a friend, and there's no parent over there, no supervision, and there's two, three guys over there and two girls. So if she gets pregnant, what you think your daughter doing?
I mean, again, that does go to, like I said, you got to have some type of
Yeah,
conversations with your kids about
because
this stuff because kids are going to
listen,
sneak, but they got to
I
understand
know
consequences.
I know what was going on 35 years ago, so I know what's going on now.
That's just a scenario. I had a parent that was in the house with me, strict, watching over me, and I still had somebody in my room.
Oh yeah, I believe me. I know.
so
I
so
tell
when
them
a
when the
child going
conversation going.
whatever
I
they
know.
gonna do, they gonna do what they gonna
Hey, but
do.
you know what? Though I can
Oh
respect
yeah,
the
I
kid
know.
that has to work for it. I can
And I,
respect the
I
kid
didn't
that has to
have
work for
nobody
it.
influencing me. This is what I was doing.
Yeah.
Mm. Well, let me ask you all
and,
this.
and
All
that
right,
and
a
that's
couple.
true. Very
I'm
true. I
sorry.
mean, my mom was strict. I had three of my friends that got pregnant between sophomore and junior year. I didn't have a baby while I was in high school. So everything
Oh, but
is
you was
it
getting it
depends
in
on the
though,
child.
wasn't you?
It doesn't mean that birds of a feather flock together. It
But
it depends on that child and what that child wants for them. I didn't want that for myself.
Mhm.
Yeah,
mhm.
I mean, my parents basically told me if I had a child, my life was over as I knew it. My childhood was over, and so I
Yeah,
had very
that's
But
clear
I,
usually what they tell
understanding
you.
on what was going to happen if I brought a kid into the world. I was going to have a job at McDonald's and
A
Burger
funeral.
King to have to pay for them
I thought
kids.
they said mama's baby, daddy's maybe though. so,
Mhm.
Nah,
That was the number
I
one. That
that was
number
the
one
number one.
line though, for real.
No.
I remember that. I remember that. And speaking of daddies, I mean, do you all think the baby's dad should be present during at the shower? Should the baby's
Yeah,
father be there?
definitely.
If
Yeah.
you want to.
No, I mean, I think that he should agree to co-parent, but usually the shower takes place before the baby is born. And if I had a son, what I would tell my son is, if you don't know if the kid is yours yet, we ain't gonna do nothing.
But
Let's
if
assume he's taking responsibility.
Hmm.
Should he be there?
Yeah, they
Well,
made it
well. My
together.
thing,
Yeah, it
if
take
that's his
two to front. It take
girlfriend,
two to tango. It take
if
two to
that's his,
tango, and he obviously
hmm,
was there
if,
tangoing, so he needs to be there.
if you know, if that's his girlfriend, I sit him down, and tell him, son, listen, if you ever want anybody that's gonna lie to you, oh, a woman gonna do it. So it might be right, it might be yours, but I'm gonna tell you, it may not be yours too. So we can decide on what we gotta do. We got we need over here. Once we find out what's going on, when we find out what's going on, we got we need. Now, do you believe this is yours? Yeah, she told me this, and we was this, and we was that. Okay, I let him go ahead because the younger you learn the lesson, the better off he gonna be.
if he was having sex with her,
That
it's a
don't make no difference.
possibility that it's his, so he needs to be there. And
A possibility.
if there was five other ones, all of them need
Yeah.
to be there at the baby
A,
shower.
a possibility.
That's true.
He can go and
In
stand
this
up. He
particular
can go and stand up
scenario,
on the wall, but bringing toys
in,
and gifts and all that. No, we
in
ain't doing
this particular scenario, let's assume the kid is his.
that.
All right. Let's assume that the kid is his in this scenario. That's why I
Okay.
was asking as far as do you allow them to come or not?
But the
Because there's
thing
some
about
people.
that is, allow. We didn't allow them to have sex, so how is you gonna stop them from going to the baby shower? If you couldn't
Oh,
stop them from having sex, don't try to stop them from going to the baby shower.
I got you. But I mean, if you're having something at your house and you don't approve of the pregnancy, some people may not want him to show up. Like he can show up if he want to. I don't know what's gonna happen to him. But let me go back to the phone lines and get this gentleman on, and we'll get ready to wrap things
What up,
up.
Radio
From
World?
the 601 area code in the Magnolia State of Mississippi, please welcome on the original show legend, the Minister of Sexual Affairs, Eminem. What's shaking, man?
Hey, what up, Q? What up, Radio World?
What
Hey,
up,
what's
Eminem?
up, cuz?
Oh man, sweating like a slave, brother.
Man, what you
Yeah,
talking about? That weather ain't playing.
just left football practice, and it's hot as hell. Golly.
Yeah, yeah. This ain't the same sun we played in as kids, man.
Nah, man. This shit different here. This shit feel like the last days of August already. Like, wow.
Yeah, that's that new sun. Just like they talk about that new math. That's that new sun
Yeah.
right there. All right. Amy chimed in from Arkansas. She said, my issue was when they put Teen Mom and 16 and Pregnant on MTV as to glorify it. And yeah, television has really kind of that. I think that's why so many of these baby showers now look like parties. Kind of like what Ray was talking about. People are putting designer, like Gucci diaper bags and Prada baby cribs and stuff like that in their wish list. I'm like, look, you ain't a Kardashian. Ain't nobody getting this for you.
But see, when I was watching those shows, it didn't glorify it to me. To me it was like, who want to go through all of that?
Mm.
Them girls wasn't having
Man,
no
look
fun having them babies, and then they couldn't. The baby daddies ain't want nothing to do with the kids. They had to run the baby daddies down and all that. Who want to go through all that?
Mm-mm. I never watched the show. All I knew is that they had their own show. But all right, so last question. We'll get ready to wrap this up. If the teenage mom is legally married, okay, does that make a difference as far as some people who may not approve of a baby shower? Um, if she's 18 and she's married and she gets pregnant
Oh,
after she gets married or something like that, does anybody care at that
if
point,
she
or is
if
it
she
still a
married,
problem because she's a teenager?
everything is fine. What's it? Ain't no problem if she married. Yeah, you know, ain't no problem with that if she married.
But
If
see,
she ain't married, that's the problem. Is.
that's my problem is that everything that's legal ain't right.
Listen,
Hello.
if she's 18 years old, she ought to be married. Now she's 13 and married. Now that's a problem.
She 18 and to me 18 and 13 is not that much difference.
Oh,
That's
that's a big difference. That's the difference
No, it
between
That's a big
that's
difference.
the difference
no.
between Angola and being free.
That's what I'm talking about. That's in the law books, but I'm talking about in humanity and in maturity. A 13 and an 18-year-old, they about almost on the same maturity level in
Oh
my book
no.
because I have them in all those age ranges.
I tell you what, ain't nobody sending no 13-year-old child off across the country to go to school. You 18, you gone.
Like
That's
I
a big
said,
difference.
back to the
Yeah,
legal.
like I said.
That's the law, but that's not humanity and maturity. That's
Yeah, I
what
do think
man's law.
being considered an adult at 18 is too low these days. 40 years ago, 50 years ago, I mean, yeah, I could see that. People were leading civil rights revolutions at 18 and 19 back in the
Hey,
60s, but now you 18 and 19, I mean, you got some kids don't even know how to
no,
drive.
Don't get me wrong, Q. I
Yeah, but
think 18 is too young to get married too. But if you it's legal for you to get married, if you mature enough to get married, where's the problem? Now, if you're 13, it's clear that you're a kid. If you're 15, it's clear you're a kid. You're 18, it's not clear that you're a kid. You can go fight for your country and everything.
yeah,
You're an adult.
you can fight for your country. You can go to prison. You can
Yeah,
legally strip. You can do whatever. I mean,
exactly.
Y'all still proving my point. Y'all talking about legal terms.
Yeah,
And then
Well,
one of the
now
key
don't get me
words
the
was
wrong.
Bible say
Now,
obey the
that
mature.
laws of the
18,
land.
yeah, 18-year old is not gonna be mistake free like somebody 30, of course. But I mean, but you still got a brain at 18 and 13. You still got baby. Some people still got baby teeth.
yeah. I would prefer that if I had a child that they're much older than 18 if they decide to get married.
Agreed.
But I
Way
think it
older.
may be I think it may be more acceptable to some people that if you're
Shit,
going to have a kid
as
that you're married.
what's her name? Ray. Yeah, Vanessa. As Vanessa Bryant parents, they got a problem with that.
uh,
Mm.
oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. They really ain't got a problem with it now. That number steady climbing, Jack.
And Christina chimed in from Magnolia State of Mississippi. She said maturity levels play a huge part in it. And all right, so we'll get ready to wrap things up. And let me let you know what's going on in the next T2Q. And I know this T2Q episode was supposed to be about, I was going to do a show on pink tax, but I don't know. I just felt like this was something I wanted to discuss. And, like I always say, I'm Quincy and this is my show. So I do what I wanted to do. I changed the topic. So on the next show, I'll bring on a panel of guests to present to them more memes. I read a scenario from a random meme found on social media, and you will get to decide how you would handle it if you were in that situation. The Meme Show Volume 3, What Would You Do? That is Tuesday, July 5th at 7:30 p.m. Central Time here on the Talk to Q radio show. No experts, just opinions. All right, those shows are always a lot of fun. That's going to be show number 999. So we're
That's
a
what's
month
up.
Oh,
away from 1,000. A month away from 1,000.
all
All
right
right.
now.
So now, before we get to our final thoughts, we all know that like tonight's topic plays a huge role in the discussion of Roe versus Wade. Now, I didn't necessarily get into that be too tough because the discussion is so controversial and it's a lightning rod for council culture. So to the person, someone probably messaged me about it, and I appreciate you broaching the topic and everything. But this show isn't as anonymous as it was when I first started in 2011, when it was just voices only. We're on YouTube now, so now you can see faces. And I mean, I wouldn't want to put any of my guests in any type of position to lose their job or anything behind their opinion on Roe versus Wade because it's so sensitive. And people these days are just flat out vindictive. So if anyone wants to broach that in their final thoughts, you're more than welcome to. But I just ask that you do so respectively and at your own risk. But we'll go ahead and get the final thoughts on tonight's show. I'm
That's
just
a
putting it
serious
out there.
disclaimer right there, boy.
I'm just putting it out there, y'all, because it's just stuff is crazy these days. Stuff is crazy. People who are just for no reason they'll try to take you down. And I mean, ain't none of us rich, so I mean somebody in Hollywood can probably take a few letters being sent to their boss, but none of us, I don't think, can deal with that. So let's go ahead and get to our final thoughts. And let's see, TK, I'll start with you on final thoughts. Let you put a bow on the show.
Thank you again for having me on. I always enjoy. Um, my final thoughts would be parents, talk to your kids. Um, you can only tell them and teach them so much because some of them is just gonna be hard headed and just gotta go touch the burner on the stove. They just gotta touch it just to for their own sanity, they're gonna touch it. No matter how you can say it's hot, don't do it. But at least have the conversation with your kids. That communication is worth a lot. And in the end, let's also not shame our kids. Like we see it so much on social media, and it's not a positive thing. There are ways to get through your kids besides shaming them and degrading them. And hey, that's all I gotta say.
All right. I appreciate you. Let the people know where they can find you.
TK's Chronicles of a Black Sheep podcast. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Pandora. We are everywhere. We do our show on Saturday nights, 8 p.m. Central. We cover a array of topics, so check us out.
All righty. Appreciate you coming on.
You're
And
welcome.
Ray, what you got, man?
Yeah, man, it was a great show. I just want to say that I think that as teenagers, kids are gonna make mistakes, but as a parent, they should try to limit those mistakes as best as possible. I mean, we all did stuff. We lucky to come out of it, and it didn't end up as bad as it could have been, and stuff like that. But at the same time, we have to, hold kids accountable and not glorify things that they shouldn't be doing. Like kids now, sex and all that. We was doing it 35, 40 years ago. They're doing it now. It's kind of hard to stop that. But at the same time, you can talk to them and let them know that just because you're having sex, you don't have to produce a baby. And I think that, some will listen, some won't, and some people would disagree. But I think if you want to uh, try to make a change to get things going in a positive direction, you should always be known by your kids as keeping it real and telling the truth. If they know they can't get nothing else from you, they know they can get the truth. And if you tell them the truth, I think they'll respect you more for it. I don't think you should shame a child, but at the same time, I don't think you should let a child off the hook when they do something wrong. I mean, that's what's wrong with the world now. Everybody is pampering everybody. Oh, they're afraid they're gonna commit suicide. They're afraid of this, that. Okay, damn, you can't say nothing to them. They're gonna swallow some pills or do this or that. I mean, what we come, you can't say nothing about nothing then if that's the case. So I think that as adults, we have to be adults and we have to give kids the knowledge to let them come along and be better than we were. So with that being said, I mean, I think that teenage pregnancy can be lowered. I don't ever think it can be wiped out, but it can be lowered. But we got to make good decisions as adults and those that are parents as parents.
All right. I appreciate you, man.
All right.
And Eminem, what you got, bro?
Oh man, great show, man. Like I said, this first I was
You
thinking
just
it
got here.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I was saying, man, what I'm gonna say about these pink razors, but I see the topic change. Okay, but yeah, man, this is a much needed things. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I hope a lot of youngsters, listen to stuff like that, which they probably don't. But you know what I'm saying? You can learn a lot from a topic like this. But I think well, especially in the inner cities across the United States, definitely here in Jackson, the root of most of the problem we have is not guns, not racism, is people not being prepared to be no damn parent or taking responsibility. So basically, most of the time, uh, not in every case, but 99% of the time, most of the time, a teen that's in a fucked up situation that's pregnant is only going to have a kid that's going to be fucked up because they not mature, they not ready for it. So, giving a baby shower for that shit, man, that's like hell nah. But to each their own. But a baby shower for a teen or a big party for somebody getting out of jail is nothing to celebrate. I mean, you try to build and you try to move forward, but I mean, but see, because one thing about kids, they take stuff the wrong way. They see all this stuff in their mind, okay, well maybe it's not as bad as it seems. Okay, it's like, yeah, you're not ridicule them, but at the same time, it's like, hey man, shit, mistakes happen, yada yada yada. But I ain't trying to do this shit like it's Sweet 16 or something. Everybody with Gucci this and all that shit for a damn, 12-year-old baby, 12-year-old kid getting ready to have birth. Hell nah. But so I just think that that's the root catalyst for most of this. And I don't want nobody to lose their job. But I would say, like I say, it's a way to remedy a lot of stuff. But everybody has some real great points about definitely keeping it real with your kids and stuff like that. But especially the girls, people don't put enough emphasis on the girls. As a parent, what I'm saying, I really never talked to my sons about sex at all, other than don't be on like something like paternity court or some shit like that. But uh which what I'm saying, you gotta watch what you're doing. But a girl, nah man, ain't no coming back from that shit. So you don't wanna fuck around and let the wrong nigga get you pregnant, all that kind of stuff, and real young. So you try to keep your girls involved and stuff. Ain't nothing foolproof, but I just know just from being deep in the community and stuff like that, most of the people that really, really go off track, whether it's drugs or pregnancy early and stuff like that, a lot of time these are the forgotten kids, the ones with sorry ass parents. The girl might want to be in the band. These motherfuckers don't want to buy the girl no instrument, or she might want to cheer. They don't want to do this. They trying to. The girl really try to do something, but nobody don't want to do nothing. Then when she say, okay, well, fuck it, my life had no value. Now in the previous life, I had a job for your ass, but I can't do that now. But so I just think that's something that the America should really, really focus on. Try to make sure the girls are positively involved, and and get the girls. Now I'm talking about girl with no parents. Now get the girls to listen to like Erica's show and Miss TK show. The Talk to Q show. But they need to see this type of shit. They brainwashed thinking, well, my mama had me at 12 and I became a lawyer. Okay, bitch, you got lucky. That's one out of like a million. You know what I'm saying? You can't base your life on that. I know people that got shot and survived. How many people don't make it? So you know what I'm saying? You got to keep it real with your kids. Most of the time, yeah, you can make it. Life ain't over. But just like me as a parent, when my cousin would come down to visit, I said, hey man, they was all my kids always looked up to Ray, which rightfully so. Cause we just like brothers and shit. But the thing about it is, I say, well, listen, man, if work, this man ain't out here stealing and shit like that. You do what you supposed to do. You can have nice stuff, but don't fuck around and see me. I'm out here working 2 jobs and shit like that. Cause hey, man, I started off younger than what I should have. But you got to keep it real to them like that. Don't mean they're gonna be perfect, but at least they know the real. So that's what everybody's saying. Soon you start saying something about something, people start thinking about suicide. Now, okay, but yeah, but great show. And one way to clean all this shit up and to stabilize these families is yeah, TK, about 1313. Pass that, and one thing that's gonna do is it's gonna cut pregnancies in half, because if you out there slinging that ass like that, most people gonna be wrapped up. So that's gonna cut down on the pregnancy rate a whole lot. Whether it be teens, you ain't gonna see all these old men with these young babies and shit. I mean, all that shit gonna damn near go away. You know what I'm saying? You know, ain't nobody lights gonna be cutting. I don't care if y'all do have another ice storm over there. It ain't gonna cut shit off. Everybody gonna have their shit paid. So, but great show, man. Much needed topic.
What do we get for $10?
Oh man. Oh boy. Eminem, you never cease to amaze, bro. I appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
And Erica, can you shut it down for me, please? Can you follow behind that?
I guess. I ain't promoting no 1313 though. But
Oh man.
no, thank you for having me again, Q, on your show. Always a pleasure. Um, my closing thoughts on teen moms and baby showers is, I think it's just that the choice to have a baby shower for a teen mom, it varies from situation to situation, family to family. If you feel like that's a something that you and your family want to celebrate, I don't see anything wrong with it. because it's your family, your child, your grandchild, whatever the situation is. And, you don't have to worry about what the neighbors down the street are saying or who's whispering about it in the grocery store. Um, F them. That's that's not their business. But my thing is, we have to raise our young girls to value themselves and love themselves, and um, not feed into the messaging that they see out there in the world about the value of a woman comes from her body, her looks, um, either not having sex or having sex. Either way it goes, you're being measured by if you're having sex, if you're not having sex, if you look good, if you don't look good, if you got kids, if you don't got kids. So all this different messaging that is being bombarded at our young girls, it's no wonder they're trying to find comfort and value and worth in sex and in boys and in men. And so, if we can offset that messaging and really speak to our young girls about their value and what they are worth, and that it's not measured by how they are viewed, by men and in sex, then that could also decrease the rate of teen pregnancies. You know, so I say if we can just feed into that messaging and stop the shaming, even if you're the best, you feel like you're the best parent in the world and you raise your child right, they still are going to make their own decisions that may be contrary to the way you feel like you raised them. So if they go outside of that and make the mistake and do get pregnant, it's not a shameful, I mean, it's a mistake, but it's not a shameful act that you have to punish them for the rest of their life and look down upon them and make them feel like their life is over. Yeah, life is going to change, but they are still valuable and they still have worth and they can still be great in the world. And so I just want to put that message out there that it's a thing to celebrate. Life, new life coming into the world is always a thing to celebrate. And so don't let nobody else tell you that you should or should not.
All right. Good stuff. Oh, I'm sorry. Let the people know where they can find you.
You can find us on YouTube. We're taking a break, a hiatus. We'll be back on July the 17th. And so you can catch us live every Sunday, 6:30 Central Standard Time, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, where me and my co-hosts have conversations about dating, relationships, and mental health.
All righty. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you for joining the show, everyone. I think this conversation is definitely something that needs to be had because when you and kind of like what Eminem says, maybe you need to share this show with someone, or maybe I'm know many topics Erica has had on her show or TK has had on hers. I mean, there's something that you can use on some of these shows to help reach someone and maybe expose them to something they just haven't really given much thought. Because a lot of these things that we deal with in life stems from a parent who didn't tell their kid something. I mean, yeah, you have some parents who do everything they can, the kid doesn't just act right, but a lot of parents fail to expose their kids to certain things. And when the kid finally finds out about it, it's too late. And like Ray was saying earlier, we've all made some mistakes in our lives, but some mistakes you can't come back from. Some mistakes you have to live with for the rest of your life, whether it's raising a child at an early age, a prison sentence, or whatever the situation may be. So you want to reach people before it gets to that point. But again, I think you all did a great job. Thanks a lot for the discussion. Everyone out there, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the show. If you don't know where to find me, then you can Google hashtag talk to Q. I got 11 years worth of content out there on the web. So I guarantee you're going to get a hit off me in a Google search. So everyone enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your week, I guess I should say. And you've been checking out the Talk to Q radio show. No experts, just opinions. Peace out.